Hello everyone, welcome to the Keystone CAPS National Project. We hope you all are doing well during this corona occasion. Please stay home, stay safe, and wash your hands.
So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you're stressed, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you, just don't pick up the pen. I'll be there for you, take some pics or draw something cool. I'll be there for you, so come sit and watch us help you.
Keystone has some facts for you about vaping
And tobacco.
Today, we're going to be talking about tobacco. So, what is tobacco? Tobacco is the common name of several plants in the Nicotiana genus and the Solanaceae family, and the general term for any product prepared from the cured leaves of the tobacco plant. Dry tobacco leaves are mainly used for smoking in cigarettes and cigars, as well as pipes and shishas. They can also be consumed as snuff, chewing tobacco, dipping tobacco, and snus. First, we're going to be talking about the benefits of tobacco. Tobacco use lowers the risk of Parkinson's disease, it lowers risk of obesity, it lowers risk of death after a heart attack, and it helps the hard drug clopidogrel work better. Now we're going to be talking about the risks of tobacco if smoked excessively. Smoking shortens male smokers' lives by about 12 years and female smokers' lives by about 11 years. Smoking can result to cancer. It can damage nearly every organ in the body, including the lungs, heart, blood vessels, reproductive organs, mouth, skin, eyes, and bones. And lastly, smoking damages the airways and small air sacs in your lungs. Remember to think twice next time when thinking about smoking cigarettes or cigars.
No.
Let's draw and take some pictures. Click, 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 click. 2 fun ways to avoid picking up the pen.
from people who liked vaping, who now have many stories to tell. V-A-P-I-N-G, 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 and now we pass the mic to them.
So for the first question, who are you and what is Students Against Nicotine?
Sure. So we're Students Against Nicotine. We're a student-led, student-run organization that's targeted to spread the voice regarding nicotine issues and more specifically e-cigarette issues, and what the governments are doing to combat this issue and what we can do as a society to improve the situation.
And the two ways we do it are through legislative advocacy and education mainly, and then through social media and our website.
So my question was to Dr. David Feller-Kaufman. So how does vaping affect our body? And as an interventional pulmonologist, have you had any patients whose vaping impacted their lung health?
Yeah, so the first part is dependent on what you're vaping, right? So most people are trying to vape electronic cigarettes or nicotine. And one of the big issues, as Abe had mentioned, is you really don't know what else is in there. Certainly there's nicotine, but the actual nicotine levels in products can be significantly higher than advertised. There is one study showing that some products have 172% higher nicotine levels than labeled. So you have the effects of nicotine, but then you have the effects of over 7,000 flavorants, and you have no idea what that does to you. For example, in people who are vaping the THC, there is vitamin E acetate, which caused significant respiratory problems and several hundred deaths throughout the United States. I actually took care of a couple of 16-year-olds who were in the intensive care unit on ventilators from that. And it's a scary thing. And I think that one of the big ways that my presentation of tobacco and e-cigarettes has changed over the years, and I've been talking at my kids' school since my daughter, who's 22 now, was in kindergarten. I used to just say smoking's bad and say the reasons for that smoking's bad. But everybody knows that, right? So what my talk has changed is that, yeah, you know that smoking's bad and we can talk about all those bad things, but you're being manipulated. That's the big part, right? So teenagers generally want to feel like they're the ones in charge, they're the ones making the decision, but you're not when it comes to this stuff. There are millions and millions of dollars designed to hook kids before they're 21 years old. Ideally, the younger the better. There's great data showing that if you advertise specifically to youth market and get customers before they're 21, you will have a customer for life. Whereas if you don't start until you're after 21, the odds that your customer are significantly reduced, right? So not only are there, incredible, big money in terms of making these as addictive as possible, but they want to do it early. And I could just show you a couple of slides if that's okay. Do you mind if I share my screen for a sec? So let's see. Right, can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right, so, Big Tobacco is spending over $8 billion a year on marketing. And if you think about McDonald's and Starbucks being everywhere, the number of tobacco retailers dwarfs it, right? This is insane. So this is every 7-Eleven, every Wawa, or every, grocery store, right? And there's a reason for that. So you got to follow the money. You should not be trusting these big companies to make decisions that theoretically are on your behalf, right? I mean, this is just another slide that I like to show is, they're marketing you guys, right? They want you to think this is cool and sexy and all that. They're not out there for your health. They're out there for their bottom line. That's something also that I saw in the questions, and it keeps on being used as the word vaping, right? This is not water vapor, right? And that's a huge fallacy. They want you to, they pick that word vape because it sounds like water vapor, and oh, people think it's harmless, but it's not vapor, it's aerosol, right? So then what else is in the aerosol? And let's see, I'll show you one more slide here, right? So you have at least all these chemicals, you know, propylene glycol, cadmium, arsenic, aluminum, zinc, all these heavy metals, manganese, lead, and it's a big problem. We know that the heating coils in all these vape things are made of nickel chromium, manganese. Chromium's a known carcinogen. Nickel is a known carcinogen. There's studies done from the Hopkins School of Public Health looking at levels in the dispenser, in the aerosol, and in the tank. And there's lead, which causes renal and cardiovascular toxicity. The manganese gives you a Parkinsonian-like disease. So, you know, there's just so much in this stuff, and it's not regulated. So because it's not regulated, you have no idea what you're inhaling into your body.
Okay, so for the next question, is smoking e-cigarettes or smoking regular cigarettes worse for your health? Are they equally bad, and why?
Yeah, so we don't know all the dangers associated with electronic cigarettes, and there's a big difference between safer and safe, right? Safer does not mean safe. As a lung doctor, the thing that should go into your lungs is air, right? Anything else that's going into your lungs is not safe, for the most part. You know, even high levels of pure oxygen could be dangerous to your lungs. So I think that's a big thing. The electronic companies would like you to think that electronic cigarettes are safer than combustible cigarettes, and they may be. There are videos on YouTube showing, you know, less tar, less black stuff. And again, it may be safer, but it's not safe. You also have to take that into context with one of the biggest risk factors for starting to smoke a combustible cigarette is prior use of electronic cigarette, right? So they want you hooked on the nicotine no matter how they get you. And if they get you to smoke both, that's great. If they only have you smoking one of their products, that's fine with them too.
I want to ask a follow-up, which kind of relates to our previous question. Some people say that vaping isn't bad for you or it isn't as addictive. How would you particularly respond to these people or those claims?
Complete fallacy. It is most definitely addictive. It is designed to be addictive. And nicotine is the addictive component of this. So, you know, I'm not talking about THC vapes or non-nicotine vapes, even though those vapes have been found to have nicotine, which is really scary, right? Because they are marketing it as a non-nicotine vape, but it has nicotine in it to make you buy more. And you have no idea what the level of nicotine is. So it's the nicotine in an electronic cigarette is just as addictive as the nicotine in a combustible cigarette. 1 joule is equal to about a pack of cigarettes. And addiction is something that's very well studied. The adolescent brain is developing until about 25 years old, and addiction actually changes the way brain synapses are formed. And this increases risk for mood disorders, reduced impulse control, as well as addiction to potentially other things as well, and other risky behaviors.
Okay, so following up from that, does nicotine affect dopamine level in the brain, and if so, how?
So Dr. Feller-Kopman, you might be better positioned to answer this one, but nicotine does affect dopamine levels in the brain. Essentially, whenever you're addicting yourself to any substance, you're changing the way the pathways in your brain respond to pleasure, the way the brain drives you to do certain things. As Dr. Feller-Kopman was saying before, it changes I don't remember the exact description you used, but you said something like it's saying, I want nicotine, I want nicotine, I want nicotine. And that all has to do with dopamine and other types of receptors and neurotransmitters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Students Against Nicotine has done a lot of legislative advocacy with lawmakers around policies to prevent vaping. So, what policies do you think we need around vaping? And in general, how can we as teens get adults to listen to us?
So I think recently New York just passed legislation saying that they're banning all vaping devices with flavors other than tobacco. And I think that was definitely a step forward, and I think we could definitely go further in that by banning all vaping devices, as there are more effective ways of cessation if that's the key goal for you. I think that's definitely what needs to happen, and hopefully federally there's a total ban on vaping. And how to get teens to listen, how to get adults to listen to us. Well, we do programs, we go to locations such as synagogues, and we talk to the people there, and we answer whatever questions they have. So I guess it's just kind of clear the air and to kind of go out to your community and kind of go in public locations and just try and spread the word. Yeah. Yep, that's us.
I would like to add that I've been the only student or like high school under the age of 18 with a group of adults, and they are appreciative when they hear students' point of views, because they think students they experience it firsthand with their peers, and there's a sense that there's some things hidden that adults don't see because they're not in the school buildings or they're not hanging out with teens on a day-to-day basis.
And lastly, what are effective ways for people who want to quit vaping?
I think the most effective way is through group cessation. And of course, leading up to group cessation, I think there needs to be some sort of like integrity, or rather confidentiality, that needs to be kept, because a lot of people don't want to tell their parents. So I think that's key. And I think if people quit, as I said before, vaping is mainly peer pressure based. So I think if you can actually get people to quit, it sends like examples to other people. Older siblings will be an example to their younger siblings, telling them telling them to quit and not to start. And I think that's the main way we should go about this.
Also, if I may add, there are also various online resources, and if you text Jewel to 88709, for example, they'll provide various resources, and you can speak to people directly regarding that issue. And I think if you go online, there'll be many places that you can go and try and speak to other people about it as well. So you're not alone. That's the main thing.
If you need help understanding or still have some questions too, here are some resources you can try. Look them up or call some too. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, shining brightly once again.
Hey, it's Buzz here. These are some hotlines you can use and call for help if you need help to quit vaping